Does anyone know what an MVP is? So what the hell is a minimal viable product, right? So it's like fancy Silicon Valley talk. It's like a big buzzword right now. If you go to like a startup town like Austin, Texas, or Palo Alto, New York, Boston, Mass, you get any of these places and talk to like 20, 30-year-old type of people, in that range, like up to 40s, 20s and 30s, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, man, you want to MVP these ideas, you want to MVP this, you want to do this, and you whatever, right? Exactly. It's whatever gets the job done. That's MVP. Whatever gets it freaking done. And you're looking for literally low-cost entry. You're looking to just get in the game. That's it. Like, you're just trying to get up in the game. You don't really care. You don't care if you go out there and you're looking kind of brown, because everyone starts brown, all right? Difference is knowing when you're brown. See, when you know when you're brown and you understand and you're humble about being brown, you're not really brown. You're just MVPing. It's a real close line, though, because a brown will stay at that level forever, learning nothing, allowing all of that knowledge that he's learning every day to just freaking go out the window. So the point of an MVP is, when you start an idea, it doesn't matter what the heck it is, you think, this idea is awesome. If you're like me, you're like, this is the best idea ever. And then you try it and you figure out, like, a good batting average is like 30%, right? 33%, right? So you try it and you realize, like, after you've done enough ideas over enough decades, you're kind of like, yeah, like, some of them worked out. Some of them were killers. Some of them were home runs. And other ones were fails. And some of them were just massive, expensive fails, right? They're just huge, massive, expensive fails. And it's like, man, if we could just learn to fail faster. This is another thing that they say out in these startup towns. So the MVP, minimal viable product. I'd love whoever made that comment. Whatever gets the job done. My first MVP, the first time I went out and I bought a machine, I still have a love affair with this machine. I kind of wanted to buy one, but then I was like, I can't really justify it. But my ultimate favorite MVP, probably because it was the best right out of the gate, right, was when I started my lawn company for real at 16. Right, so I'm 16. The day before I turned 16, Grandma drops off the convertible, because she's got a convertible. She's got a 98 Chrysler convertible. I think it's like a 98. Chrysler convertible, purple, fresh new pair of rims, black leather, trigger like a hairpin. And me and Lil Wayne, we went to the driving test. Got the top down. The dude's like, park it in the spot. I'm like, no problem, bro. In the spot, parallel it, all good to go. Give me my license. Peace out. Get my license. Got my cash, right? So I have all the cash I've saved up from the time I was like, 12 to like 16. I've got like $8,300, and I'm about to start dropping cash. Now, the problem is, I blew half of that cash. Literally blew half of that cash about 2 months before that, because I had bought my dad's old truck for $3,000, and then I blew the motor. So I learned how to swap motors. And I had about $3,000 left. So I'm down, right? I'm down. I got $3,000 left. A buddy of mine who helped me swap the motor was like, dude, why don't you just borrow my trailer to get going? All right, cool. So I've got about $3,000. I roll into my motor store and I get my first and my favorite MVP. It was a 36 ExMark belt drive with the twin wheel sulky. And to this day, it didn't have the pistol grips. It had the grips you leaned on, not the pistol grips. This was cool before you guys had your standards. Now you guys are all riding around. You're like, Wright standards or Skag or whoever the heck's got these standards. Bro, I was rocking standards with a sulky on belt drives back in the day for $3,000. It was my favorite MVP. I freaking love that thing. And I bought that thing 3 other times. Every single time I started a deal, every time I started a lawn company, I would always start with a 36. I've actually got video from that. I might put that up on the YouTube channel this winter. I got video from always starting the last 2 ones. I always start with that MVP. That's my favorite lawn MVP. It just is what it is. It's what I like. But the point is that it's whatever gets the job done. Once you get your MVP going on and you're making money, and that's how you know you're doing something right. It's freaking making money. That's why I go with the 36, because it's good for back gates. You don't know what type of properties you're getting. You know what I mean? You're starting a lawn company. You don't know what's good. And then once you get going, you're like, oh, man, I got 12 lawns. I got 15 lawns. I got 20 lawns. I'm barely getting my homework done at this point. I'm like not getting anything done. I'm like, yo, I got to get another machine, right? There's a point where, like, I came home one night at like 9 o'clock, and Dad's like, dude, you have school tomorrow. Like, what you doing? And I'm like, bro, I need a machine. He's like, well, go get a machine. I'm like, oh, I can't afford, these new ones are like 10 grand. I can't afford this stuff. He's like, dude, just figure it out, right? So I go down to my mower dealer, talk to the owner. He's like, dude, I got a guy. We don't do trades, but I got a guy that's selling a mower. I get into an old school Woods that's like Grasshopper. It's like Toro and ExMark, or like Chevy and GMC. I get a Woods, and it's got a 21 horsepower Kubota diesel. First diesel I ever had. Thing's got like 3,000 hours on it. I'm like, heck yeah, this thing's sweet. It runs. It's freaking awesome. And like, so now I've got my 36. I bought it brand new, and now I've got my 61 with my 21 horsepower Kubota diesel. Like, I've got my OG, and my OG was like my original gangster. Right, because she was gangster. She was a little rough. She rattled like a diesel, but it was freaking great. Didn't have a ton of power. It was only 21 horsepower, but it had a lot of torque, so it never bogged. That's what you want. And it was fuel efficient as all get up. And we start building up our first lawn business. We get to 50 accounts, 60 accounts. We get to the end of senior year, we're rocking 80 freaking accounts. And we're living at mom and dad's house. I'm storing the trailers on the side of dad's house. Like, we got no cost. Like, we're freaking crushing it. Right? Like, me and all the guys that are working for me, they're making money. I'm making money. Everything's cool. We're freaking crushing it. And that's when I developed this concept of the OGs. So you start with your MVPs, then you get into your OGs. I want to talk about picking OGs because a lot of you guys are at pivot points in your business where you're starting to pick your MVPs and your OGs. And you're picking these machines. And the reason I picked the machine I picked, and I didn't really appreciate some of the work, the research work that I put into picking my original OG Bobcat, because I had some problems with my Bobcat like first year in, and I forgot about all those reasons. But now 3 years later, I'm like, dude, I'm really freaking glad that all my stuff. You gotta remember, I had an MVP cat. It was a 1997, like 1,500 hour Bobcat 873, wheels, open cab. Bought it for like 12 grand, put some white tires on it, put some paint on it, like 13 grand, like we were good to go. Thing ran freaking fine, and then like we were good. That thing was freaking crushing it. And we ran that thing for like a year, kind of figured it out, made some mistakes, made some failures, started getting some customers, and we're like, hey, I need something a little bit more reliable. So we grab this new, we get what is now our OG cat. And we knew eventually this is going to become our crap cat. You know what I mean? Like our older cat, like something we wanted to scale with. And when we went with this, we had already MVP'd. So we knew what we wanted, we knew what we didn't want. And a lot of the stuff that we have on the current Bobcat, and that's now like 1,000 hour Bobcat, we were able to upgrade the high flow pump. We were able to upgrade the tracks. We were able to upgrade the door. We were able to take a machine we were billing $55 an hour for, and now we're billing like $200, $225 an hour for on the exact same machine with a $7,000 influx of cash. So we like put in a little bit of money in the machine, we redid the machine, we just upgraded it a little bit, and what's crazy is like that's our OG cat, and it was a good decision. I didn't really realize it until this year. I was like, wow, we really made a good decision on our OG cat. The reason that we made a good decision, based on what we had, based on our limited knowledge in 2014, and based on what our options were in 2014. If I was going to order a machine today, I'd switch it up a little bit, but I would actually reorder the OG cat. I'd switch a couple bells and whistles around, and I'd reduce some of the things on it, but I would reorder in the same field, in the same family, in the same size. Not necessarily in the same brand. It might go in the same brand. But the point is the only reason I know that or made as good of a decision as we made there is because we MVP'd it. So because we MVP'd it with the MVP cat, the POS cat, piece of shit cat, it was kind of cool, but it had like a ripped up seat, no AC, like it was rough, you know what I mean? It was smoking black, it was black smoking and stuff. But like we learned enough about the product line at that point to make a good OG thing to move on in. So when you're talking about ideas, or you're thinking about ideas, or you're thinking about where you're taking your business, or you're doing plowing, or you're going to do leaf cleanup, or maybe you're going to do aeration, maybe you're going to do lawns, maybe you're going to start doing pavers and hardscapes, you're looking to do that process. You're looking to MVP your idea, You're looking to learn from the idea. So it's literally, remember MVP in the landscape industry, the comment from earlier? It's whatever gets it done. Whatever gets it done so that you can get in the game and start learning.